Is this my pick for Game of the Year, even though it was on my list of favorites of 2019? Hi everyone, and welcome to You Should Play This, a recurring series on the Nintendo Nerds where we talk about games we have loved playing and why we think they'd be right for you. Today, I'm here to talk about the game that has me totally neglecting Mario 3D All-Stars. Hades is a moody, intense, and hard-rocking roguelike that has been in early access for the past 2 years, and this week, it finally released in its 1.0 version on PC and Nintendo Switch. Released by Supergiant Games, the rare studio that has kept almost all of its original team members, this release feels like a culmination of all the artistry and hard work they have made together in the past. Quite frankly, this is Supergiant's greatest game yet, and I'm thrilled to be spending more time battling my way out of hell with its Nintendo Switch release, so I'm here to talk about why you should play this. A disclaimer before we begin, I've been a pretty vocal fan of Supergiant Games before this review, and we interviewed Darren Korb about his body of work last year in 2019. This was not a copy provided to us, and this is an unbiased review. Hades is a reinterpretation of one of the Greek myths. In our epic tale, you play as Prince Zagreus, the son of Hades who has become determined to battle his way out of hell. There's a lot of intrigue in the tale that plays out ahead of you I don't want to spoil, and you'll be visited by a cast of characters with names you'll recognize out of Greek tales. Zeus and Athena, Aphrodite and Poseidon, among many others. The gods have decided to assist Zagreus in his attempts to escape, and while the view is isometric and the figures are small, all of these characters have been brought to life with phenomenal voice acting, a terrific script by Greg Kasavin, and some of Gen Z's best character design work to date. It's not an exaggeration to say that my jaw dropped more than once at the reveals of some of these characters and their artwork, and I'm already completely drawn into the world building that is taking place, something Supergiant has never strayed away from. This game is partially a visual novel, rich with characters I can't wait to get to know better. Music and storytelling have always gone hand in hand with Supergiant Games. I don't think you can speak critically on one of their titles without touching on the excellent sound design and the music from resident sound designer Darren Korb, who also voices Zagreus among other characters. This soundtrack follows the build of your progression through the dungeon, beginning murky and moody with low synth pulses, building with Mediterranean folk instruments, and becoming hard-slamming rock and roll when you reach a boss battle. The atmospheric design and the entire soundtrack is one to turn up the volume for. Collaborating with longtime partner, vocalist Ashley Barrett, there's a particularly gorgeous moment where I found myself taking a break in the middle of all this frenetic action to listen to Eurydice's version of Good Riddance. Supergiant has always been great at this. Throughout the difficult combat and moody dungeons, you can find melancholy ballads in all of their gaming library that really enhance the feelings of the story. But all of this is speaking to how the game's storyline unfolds and how it makes you feel. That's not even covering how this game plays yet, and I'm here to tell you, the combat rocks just as hard as the soundtrack. Supergiant has been making story-heavy brawlers since their debut with Bastion in 2011, but this is their first true roguelike. We've talked about roguelikes on this series before, so check out my review of Slay the Spire for a more in-depth rundown. A quick definition, it's a dungeon crawler where you'll never have the exact same experience twice, and in some instances, like Hades, you retain certain upgrades and get better as you progress. Zagreus begins with his trusty blade in hand and encounters a labyrinth of chambers, with treasures to be found each time you successfully defeat all the enemies in the encounter. Sometimes these will be boons, powerful upgrades bestowed upon you by the gods. Other times it will be gold to offer to Charon, the spectral ferryman of newly departed souls, who also offers up his merchant wares. And other times, you'll receive other various upgrades for your inevitable return to the House of Hades. Each time you begin a new run, there's opportunities to increase your arsenal of weapons, gain strength and techniques, and even take the time to perform some cosmetic upgrades to your home. If you are a fan of the roguelike loop, you will find yourself raring to go right back in for another run. Having played through all of the back catalog of Supergiant's games, I'm really struck by how it feels like there's a little piece of every game they have made before now that can contribute to the success of Hades. Isometric brawlers have been a supergiant staple since Bastion, but with Transistor and Pyre came the endless experimentation of combining combat mechanics and requiring more awareness of the playing field, and a little piece of all of those feels at play here. The combat is fluid and strikes hit with a satisfying wallop. Boons from the gods can sometimes act in tandem, so you can find yourself attached to certain combinations of devastation. For example, Poseidon imbuing your dash with a repelling wave, while at the same time Zeus bestowing your weapon with lightning makes for a powerful combination that repels your foes and adds extra electrical damage to boot. Losing in a run with a build you are attached to feels particularly heartbreaking, but that just means there's a new set of goodies to discover in the next run. This game is definitely difficult, but I never found myself saying that something was truly unfair. When I lost, it pretty much always felt like it was my fault. The build and the progress I have made in these first few days with the game has felt steady and fair in a way I'd compare to the other excellent roguelike, Dead Cells. While the enemies hit hard, so do you, and once you learn their patterns, using their powers to strike them down makes you feel like a real warrior. With 6 different weapons to choose from once you've fully unlocked your armory, there's a different playstyle to suit everyone. One word of caution: if you are thinking of picking up this game on PC, you'll need a pretty robust or modern computer. I picked this title up on PC a while ago, and my old dinosaur can't really keep up with the frame rates required when the action really picks up. I've seen some frame drops on Switch, but nothing that has really detracted from my experience. There's a massive library of games awaiting me on Switch, but unfortunately, I think a lot of those are going to sit on the pile for a while longer. Hades has a quick pick-up and play style that allows for sessions that are 10 minutes or 10 hours long, and I think there's a strong chance I'll be doing a little of both now that I can play this on the Switch. You should play this if you like dungeon crawlers or roguelikes in the vein of Diablo 2 or Dead Cells. If you enjoy playing with lots of combat mechanics, weaponry, and combinations of wild powers. And if you want a complex story full of amazing characters and a rich narrative. Skip this title if you don't enjoy games with a difficult learning curve, and if your computer does not have a fast processor. I don't really have a third reason to not play this. You really should play this game. Hades is available on Steam, the Epic Store, and the Nintendo Switch eShop, and as of this review, it's on sale for 20% off, so there's never been a better time to pick it up. Thanks for watching You Should Play This. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Hades, or the latest title you've been obsessed with. We just might have to take a look at it ourselves. As always, we hope you leave this video ready to pick up a Pro Controller, a paintbrush, or a pen. I'm Backrolls, and this has been the Nintendo Nerds.